Hello and welcome to G Fun Facts Online, the show where we dive deep into the fascinating science behind our everyday lives. I'm your host, and today we're tackling a huge topic, something that affects every single one of us with a smartphone or a computer: misinformation. You know what I am talking about. That shocking headline your aunt shared on social media, that celebrity health tip that sounds too good to be true, or that political story that makes your blood boil. We live in an age of incredible access to information, but it's also an age of digital wildfires, where falsehoods can spread faster than truth. The question is, why? Why are we so easily fooled? It's not because we're not smart. It's because our brains, these amazing, efficient machines, have some peculiar glitches that can be exploited. Today, we're going to explore the psychology of misinformation. We'll look at the mental shortcuts that lead us astray, the emotional triggers that cloud our judgment, and most importantly, what we can do to become better, smarter navigators of this wild digital world. So, let's get into it. First up, let's talk about the shortcuts. Our brains process a staggering amount of information every single day. To cope, they've developed mental shortcuts, or as psychologists call them, cognitive biases. These are usually helpful, but in the online world, they can become our Achilles heel. One of the biggest culprits is confirmation bias. This is our brain's natural tendency to look for, believe, and remember information that already fits with what we believe. It's like wearing a special pair of glasses that only highlights things you already agree with. And social media platforms know this. Their algorithms are designed to keep you engaged, so they show you more and more of what you like, creating what's called an echo chamber or a filter bubble. If you believe a certain conspiracy theory, the algorithm will feed you a constant diet of content confirming that theory. Before you know it, it feels like everyone agrees with you, and any information to the contrary seems like an attack or just plain wrong. This self-reinforcing cycle makes it incredibly difficult for facts to break through if they challenge our deep-seated beliefs. Next, we have the availability heuristic. This is a fancy term for a simple idea. Our brains judge how likely something is by how easily an example comes to mind. This is why so many people are more afraid of shark attacks than they are of car accidents, even though you're thousands of times more likely to be in a car crash. Shark attacks are dramatic, sensational, and they make for great movie posters. They're available in our memory. Misinformation creators use this all the time. They craft shocking, emotionally charged headlines and stories that stick in your brain. The more memorable and vivid the lie, the more our brain starts to think it might be true, or at least a common occurrence. Then there's the illusory truth effect. This one is both simple and scary. The more you're exposed to a piece of information, the more likely you are to believe it's true. Repetition creates familiarity, and our brains mistake familiarity for truth. Think about a slogan from an ad you've heard 100 times. You start to accept it. The same thing happens with misinformation. A false claim gets shared, retweeted, and reposted thousands of times. Even if you were skeptical at first, seeing it over and over again from different sources can wear down your critical defenses. Your brain says, well, I've seen this everywhere, there must be something to it. It's a powerful tool for making lies seem like common knowledge. We also have to consider the bandwagon effect. This is basically digital peer pressure. We have a tendency to adopt beliefs or behaviors because lots of other people are doing it. When you see a post with thousands of likes, shares, and comments, your brain gets a signal. It's called social proof. You think, if so many people are engaging with this, it must be credible. This allows misinformation to spread like wildfire, often without anyone stopping to check the original source. People share it because other people are sharing it, creating a cascade of falsehoods. Finally, there's a particularly stubborn one called belief perseverance, sometimes known as the backfire effect. This is our tendency to cling to our initial beliefs even when we're presented with solid, contradictory evidence. In fact, for some people, being corrected can actually make them believe the misinformation even more strongly. Their brain treats the correction as an attack, and they double down on their original belief to protect their worldview. It's why arguing with someone online can feel like talking to a brick wall. It's not just about logic, it's about identity and protecting one's sense of self. So we have these cognitive glitches, but that's only half the story. The other major factor is emotion. Misinformation is rarely presented as a calm, rational argument. It's designed to make you feel something, usually something strong like fear, anger, or outrage. This is because strong emotions can short-circuit our critical thinking. When we engage in what's called emotional reasoning, our feelings dictate our beliefs. If a news story makes you incredibly angry at a person or a group, you're more likely to believe it's true, regardless of the evidence. You feel it in your gut, so it must be real. Your rational brain takes a backseat to your emotional brain. And on social media, emotions are contagious. We've all seen it. One person posts an outraged comment, and soon the entire thread is a firestorm of anger. This is emotional contagion. The fear or outrage expressed by others in your network can influence your own emotional state, making you more likely to hit that share button without thinking, to spread the feeling along. Research shows that content designed to provoke strong negative emotions, especially anger and disgust, gets the most engagement. It travels further and faster than neutral or positive news. While some studies suggest anger can sometimes motivate people to challenge falsehoods, it more often fuels the fire, contributing to the viral spread of misinformation. Now let's zoom out and look at the environment where this all happens. The digital world itself. The very architecture of our online spaces is a fertile ground for misinformation. As we mentioned, social media algorithms are not optimized for truth. They're optimized for engagement. They want to keep your eyes on the screen for as long as possible. And what keeps us engaged? Sensational, emotional, and shocking content. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. The algorithm shows you a piece of misinformation because it thinks you'll react to it. You click on it or comment on it, and that tells the algorithm, yes, this worked. So it shows you more of the same and shows it to more people like you. And as we discussed, these algorithms create the echo chambers and filter bubbles that isolate us from different viewpoints, making us more susceptible to propaganda and false narratives that confirm what we already think. The sheer speed and scale of it all is another major factor. In the past, information was filtered through editors and journalists. Now, anyone can broadcast a message to a global audience in seconds. A lie can literally travel around the world before the truth has a chance to put its shoes on. We're flooded with so much information every day that we experience cognitive overload. It's simply impossible to critically evaluate every single piece of content that scrolls past our eyes, making it easier for the bad stuff to slip through. It's also worth quickly considering who makes this stuff and why. Some people spread it by accident, but many do it on purpose. For some, it's about financial gain. More clicks on a sensational story means more ad revenue. For others, it's about political influence, swaying public opinion, or undermining trust in institutions. And for some, it's about sowing chaos and social disruption just to watch the world burn. Okay, this all sounds pretty bleak. It sounds like we're hardwired to be manipulated. But here's the good news. We are not helpless. Understanding these psychological traps is the first and most important step to disarming them. So what can we do? This is the most important part. Let's talk about strategies. First, on an individual level, we can all work on developing our media literacy skills. Think of yourself as a digital detective. When you see a piece of information, especially if it provokes a strong emotion, pause. Take a breath before you share. Engage your critical thinking. Ask yourself a few simple questions. Who is the source? Is it a reputable news organization or a random blog? What is the purpose of this content? Is it trying to inform me? Or is it trying to make me angry or scared? Is the information supported by evidence from other credible sources? A great habit to get into is fact-checking. There are fantastic, reliable fact-checking organizations out there, like Snopes, PolitiFact, and factcheck.org. If something seems fishy, take 30 seconds to search for it on one of those sites. You can also use reverse image search tools to see if a photo has been taken out of context. And perhaps most importantly, be aware of your own biases. We all have them. Acknowledge that your brain wants to believe things that confirm your views. Make a conscious effort to seek out different perspectives, even if you don't agree with them. Breaking out of your filter bubble is a powerful way to build resilience to misinformation. Beyond our own actions, there are bigger things at play. We should demand more from social media platforms. They can and should reform their algorithms to prioritize accuracy over pure engagement. They can label misinformation more clearly and be more transparent about how their systems work. Technologies like AI and machine learning are also being developed to help detect and flag misinformation at a massive scale. Finally, as a society, we need to push for better media literacy education in schools to equip the next generation with the tools they need. Supporting high-quality, independent journalism is also crucial, as it provides a reliable bulwark against the flood of falsehoods. The fight against misinformation is one of the defining challenges of our time. It's a complex problem with no easy fix, but it starts with us. By understanding the psychology of why we fall for it, by being mindful of our own cognitive glitches and emotional triggers, and by taking a moment to think critically before we click and share, we can change the information ecosystem for the better. We can help create a more informed, more resilient, and ultimately a more truthful digital society. Thanks for tuning in to Fun Facts Online. I hope you found this as fascinating as I did. Join us next time for another deep dive into the world around us. Until then, stay curious and stay critical.